Hey everybody, it's Carrie with the week ahead from December 28th through January 3rd. If you've just found me, welcome to the channel. I do these every week. We look ahead. I also have a monthly forecast that I've been writing for 25 years, and that's also recorded as an audio podcast. I'm working on that right now, so look out for that in the next couple of days. I also work with people one-on-one. I love doing consultations. I mentor, I teach. There's more on the teaching front coming on, so stay tuned for that. So welcome to the very last few days of 2025. What a year it has been. Just looking back and thinking back to what an intense astrological period it was in the springtime, from about mid-March, when there was a couple of eclipses that happened, and then Saturn moving into Pisces at the end of March, and then we had Rahu and Ketu shifting signs in May, as well as Jupiter shifting signs. So 2025 was very dynamic, especially in that March, April, May timeframe. A lot happened. So you might see me next week coming out with a short just overview of 2026. I'm going to try to find time to do that. Just so we can look ahead and think about broad strokes for 2026. So last few days of 2025, we have a waxing moon. You can see up there in the top left, there's the moon with Saturn. And this is tomorrow morning. Today is Saturday, the 27th. I always make these on a Saturday and put them out for the week ahead. So we've had the moon with Saturn Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. So tomorrow on Sunday, the moon will move out of Pisces and into Aries. Again, we have a waxing moon. By the end of the week, we're going to see our full moon. And so when the moon is getting brighter, it's getting stronger. The emotions are stronger. So that's exciting. I actually like it that the waxing moon is going to be alone in Aries and Taurus for the first part of this week. So on Sunday, the moon will move over from Pisces into Aries. And at the same time, down here, Mercury, you can see that 2919. Mercury will move over from Scorpio, over that big gap between Scorpio and Sagittarius, and into the group. So you can see on Sagittarius, we've got Mars, Sun, and Venus there. So on the New Year's chart that we'll be looking at on my little video next week, what we do is we look at the midnight chart for 2026. And I look from the US, New York, really, because the ball drops there. And every year, the sun is going to be in the first house and the rising sign. Oh, actually, no, the rising sign will be different. I'm looking at a morning time thing, but the sun's always the same and the rising sign's always the same for every New Year's chart. But this year we're going to have these four guys in Sagittarius. So that's something. We'll look at that next week. Okay, so Sunday, moon's moving from a water sign to a fire sign, and Mercury's moving from a water sign to a fire sign on Sunday. So first day of the week, it seems like, oh wow, this is us moving on. Let's move on from the holiday seasons. We've got to get ready for the new year, and we're heading out. So both the mental planets, Moon and Mercury, are moving signs on Sunday. So that's something to think about. The moon is in Revati nakshatra on this day. Revati is the very last nakshatra, and if you don't know what those are, nakshatras are the lunar mansions that span through the same 360-degree space that our solar signs do, Aries, Taurus, etc. But the nakshatras overlap those, and the moon moves through one of them roughly per day. They each have their own symbols and meanings and give us a little bit more information. So Revati happens to be the very last nakshatra of the zodiac. It's associated with Mercury, and it really does feel like a good time on Sunday to just start wrapping up your 2025. Let's get the things done that you want to get done so we can look ahead to 2026. I know that the Western calendar is just kind of an arbitrary thing, but nonetheless, we are all on it. So we all collectively feel this turning, the page turning, old year, new year. So whether or not it makes sense with astrology or the cosmic sciences, it's our calendar, and we're switching, so it makes a difference. All right, so let's go to Monday. Monday, you can see that the moon starts the day in Ashwini Nakshatra, which is the very first nakshatra, and a lot of horse symbology and healing symbology and quick things happening symbology for Ashwini, and that's Monday. I also want to point out that as long as the moon is in Aries, which is pretty much Monday and Tuesday this week, Aries is a fire sign. It's the first sign of the zodiac. Again, the feeling of initiating and starting new things is coming up. Even though we're ending the year, it's like we're looking forward to the next steps. So that means the moon's in a fire sign for Monday and Tuesday. And I want to point out that Ketu is also the 4 planets in Sagittarius. So that makes 6 planets in fire signs on Monday and Tuesday. So with a waxing moon, which gets kind of juicy and a lot of fire energy, maybe it's a good time to do things. You could get things done on that Monday and Tuesday, the very last 2 days of the year. So let me look. My notes are cute. I also want to tell you that Venus and Ketu, and I should have told you this last week. My apologies. But Venus is in a nakshatra called Mula, which is associated with Ketu, and Ketu is in a nakshatra called Purva Falguni, which is associated with Venus. So that there is a thing called a switcheroo, a parivartana between nakshatras, as well as we have that between signs. So Venus and Ketu are in a nakshatra parivartana. What do I think that means? I just wanted to put it in your head as you're finishing up your 2025. I feel like that combination for the next couple days, because Venus is moving quickly, good time to do something with relationships or business decisions, even if it's spontaneous or quick, or a sudden piece of information comes up or an opportunity comes up. I guess be on your toes. The fire moves fast, right? And Venus and Ketu in that parivartana just for a couple more days. I don't know. Could be something, right? Could be something. And it feels like creative sparks from unknown or intuitive sources. So get your notebook out or your paintbrushes or whatever, because it might be a creative, juicy Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so let's go forward until Tuesday. Tuesday, moon is still in Aries. It's in a different nakshatra today. It's Bharani. Bharani nakshatra is also ruled by Venus. So both moon and Ketu are in Venus-ruled nakshatras. So there's a lot of Venus energy. And when I'm talking about the nakshatras a lot today, because there's a lot of planets in nakshatras that start with the word Purva. There's 3 sets of nakshatras that are pairs in the zodiac, and they start with Purva and end with Uttara. Purva means east. It can also mean early. And so the pair is the Uttara. Uttara means later, right? So let's think of early and later, because Sanskrit words mean a lot of different things. So let's think of, wow, we have a lot of planets in these Purva, like Purva Falguni, Purva Shada, and Purva Bhadra. To me, I just started seeing that and thinking, oh, it sounds very pending. It sounds like we're starting something, especially this four planets in Sagittarius, because they're going to be very soon moving into Uttara Shada. So it feels like this end of December into the beginning of January, we should be really brewing some things. Get things started. I don't care if you're clear on exactly how it's going to be. Just do something. Do something. Because the other thing I wanted to mention about this group in Sagittarius is look at the degree of the sun, just even on this day, Tuesday. It's almost 15 degrees. We got Mars at almost 17 something, and we got Venus at 13 something. So it's the sun, and Venus is on one side and Mars is on one side, and they're in a state that we call combustion. Combustion means planets are so close to the sun that we can't see them. And combustion means lighting on fire, right? So the idea with combustion is that the planets are so close to the sun that they're kind of burnt up on their individual influences subsumed into the sun. I feel like there's a negative connotation for combustion in Vedic astrology that I question sometimes. In Western astrology, they have a concept called Kazimi, which is the same thing. It's combustion, but it's positive. It seems like a good thing. So let's not think it's good or bad. Let's think Venus is the creative, connective planet, and Mars is the powerful, strong planet. And both of them together create such passion. It's not always harmonious, but it's passionate and creative when Mars and Venus get together. And so if those two are coming into the realm of the sun for a while, it's not just this week. I mean, it's happening now, and it will be happening for a few weeks. Maybe rather than thinking like, oh, Venus is burnt up and Mars is burnt up and we can't do anything, maybe we can think about, wow, Venus and Mars combined with the giant solar energy beaming out into the universe, what can we create? What can we make? So, things you can think about during this week with your creative thoughts or projects. So, okay, that was all Tuesday. That was a lot. All right, let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday's the very last day of the year, of the calendar year. It's the 31st. Wednesday, we've got the moon in Kritika. So you can see the moon has gone over into the Taurus. So the nakshatra actually that spans between Aries and Taurus is called Kritika. It is known as a very sharp and fiery and edgy nakshatra. And actually the moon becomes exalted. It's in its best place in Kritika. So on Wednesday, we have that exalted moon. And it's funny because Taurus is very soft, I think. It's a soft sign. And then Kritika is kind of sharp. So I don't know. I like it. So this is the very last day of the year. With sharpness, what do? We cut things. It's the last day of the year. Ready or not, we need to leave behind what needs to be left behind and get a clean start. So maybe use Wednesday to kind of wrap up and finish up those things. And it might be that day too where you realize like, this just isn't coming with me. I don't know what to do with it, but it's not getting in the car with me. So that could be a theme for Wednesday. Okay, Thursday, let's go. This is New Year's Day, and we've got the moon still in Taurus. It's in Rohini, which is a very moony kind of nakshatra. So it's a good day to do social things, I would say. So maybe take care of yourself the night before. Don't go too wild. The other thing I want to point out, though, at any given day and time, these are things that I probably see and I don't mention all the time, but it just came to my head. There's always, the moon in a sign is a thing, and new moons are a thing, and full moons are a thing. But every single day and every single moment, there is a relationship going on between the sun and the moon. There's a different angle going on. And so when the sun is in Sagittarius and the moon is in Taurus, they're in a little bit of a disjointed relationship to each other. So even though the moon's in really good dignity being in Taurus, its relationship with the sun might make it feel a little disjointed on that day, on Thursday. So luckily it's a national holiday in the US. You don't have to go to work probably. So, let it ride. Let it ride. Growing pains, change. That's that kind of relationship. It's like, that's what I'm talking about, leaving things behind and starting new things. I make it sound easy, just flying out of my mouth, but it's not. It's not easy for any of us to make big changes or separate from things, even if they're bad for us. So, give yourself some grace. Change is hard. Okay, Friday the 2nd of January. The moon's in Ardra. You can see the moon's made it over to Gemini. So for the most part, through the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the moon is by itself in Aries, in Taurus. And I always feel like there's a little more clarity with the moon by itself. So now that we've got Friday coming along, moon is with Jupiter. Jupiter is retrograde. And both of them are friendly planets to each other. And together with their aspecting. So aspecting is the planet throwing its energy into another sign from where it sits. Kind of like I'm sitting in my chair right now, but I'm aspecting you too. Like throwing my energy into wherever you are, into your phone or whatever. So the planets can do that. They can sit in a place and make an effect, but they can also, with their attention, aspect another sign. So almost all the planets get to aspect right across the board. So opposite. Here you can even see my mouse. Okay, up and across the board. So Moon and Jupiter are both looking into Sagittarius. This is concentrating a lot of energy into Sagittarius. Jupiter's doing it from where Saturn is. He actually can aspect 10 spots from him. So he's aspecting there. And then the moon, full moon weight coming into that, I think it's building some serious energy. So this is Friday morning. The full moon moment comes actually really early on Saturday morning. So the moon is in Ardra Nakshatra for the beginning of Friday and for the full moon. And then right before sunrise, the moon moves into Punarvasu, which is going to be next Saturday, the January 3rd. For the most part, the moon will be in Punarvasu. So Friday and Saturday kind of seem intense, not in a good or bad way, but just when the moon is full, that's a lot of energy. And that's a lot of energy going into Sagittarius. So it's a fire sign. There's all those creative, dynamic, and passionate planets sitting in there. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. And when a planet is aspecting into its own sign, that's considered positive. So that's good growth energy. The only caveat for this whole push is that Jupiter still remains retrograde. The retrograde motion of Jupiter is going to be going on until March 10th or 11th. And so that is like, I'm talking about, yes, we got to go forward. We got to leave behind the things and get on the road. But with Jupiter kind of controlling the road and being retrograde, it feels a little unclear. And the other part of it is that Rahu loves to make things unclear and confusing. And Rahu is actually aspecting Jupiter at the moment. And Jupiter's aspecting Rahu back. So there's this kind of battle between clarity and confusion, I think, going on. So we're not just going to sit here. We have to move. Even if things aren't clear, we just have to take it slowly. That's the Saturn advice in this whole recipe. So yeah, we may not know what the end game is. We may not know exactly what the next steps look like, but we know we're going. We know we're doing it. So one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. We don't always get to know what every clear step is in life. So that might be the feeling this year. As we change years, right? Like we're leaving 2025 behind. I know it was a hard year for a lot of people. And we have to go forward even though we don't know exactly how it's going to be. So All right, I'm going to click us over to Saturday. This is the 3rd. You can see the moon is at 21:44 up there, and the sun is back at 19. So just a few hours before sunrise, at least in Colorado, the moon gets full. And then it moves on into Punarvasu Nakshatra for Saturday. And Jupiter is also in that nakshatra, and it's his own place. So it's a strong, powerful end to the week, I think, with the full moon energy and moon and Jupiter together, and a lot of energy going into Sagittarius. So asking us, what are we going to create? What are we going to grow? Who are we going to grow it with? All these questions. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate when you subscribe to the channel. It does help me. It encourages me. And I like your questions. I'll try to answer them as much as I can. So that's it for now. Have a happy new year. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the other side.